Assessing an industry from the career standpoint is different from assessing an industry from a general standpoint. There are 8 dimensions to it. Mr. T. Muralidharan shares his insights on it. TMD, how are industries classified from a career standpoint?
See, traditionally, all industries are classified based on the products and services that the industry offers. For example, fertilizer industry. What does fertilizer industry mean? It produces fertilizers, various types of fertilizers. Similarly, automobile industry, when you say it produces automobiles. So normally the classification is based on the products and services that is available or made in the industry. But from career standpoint, that is not the dimension. The dimensions are very different from when it comes to careers. So I have, based on my research and my experience, I have identified mostly 8 dimensions on which the industry must be analyzed and categorized. I'll explain all 8 of them, and please understand each of them are important, and a lot of research goes into, and you need to research at some point of time on some of these dimensions when you make a choice. The first one is growth. What do you mean by growth? Industry growth. How fast is the industry growing, right? For example, today everybody knows that the fastest growing industry now in the country is one of the IT, and in IT itself we talk about industries or in cyber security, for example, is very high growth. Now, the growth dimension means what? When the industry is growing very fast, the first consequence is talent shortage. I mentioned to you earlier, if there's a talent shortage, the salary shoots up in their industry. So, ultimately, the first dimension of industry growth has a direct impact on compensation and your career growth. The second is a pay dimension. Some industries by nature are better pay masters, right? Therefore, the compensation levels in general are much higher. Now, let's take an example of this lawyer fraternity. Today, if you go to some of the campus students coming from Nalsar, for example, they are one of the highest paid. Their salary levels sometimes are higher than IIT students, primarily because the corporate law or the industry of legal industry pays extremely well. Consulting industry pays extremely well. So these are some examples of the level of compensation in the industry by per se is very high. Now, it's also possible the compensation may not be uniform. There are some industries pay compensation very well initially, but tapers off. Some industries pay compensation throughout. So the compensation growth also is not one single. Whether it's the compensation growth may be throughout the 20-30 years or in the initial period is also another dimension. Third is competition. Some industries are extremely competitive. Now, what does it mean? More the competition is, your work-life balance will be tough because you'll be traveling, you'll be working very hard, you'll be working late evenings. On the other hand, the higher the competition also good for you as an industry, because the talent shortage also is there. The talent is being chased by the same set of players, and therefore, highly competitive industries, people who are good performers take off very well. Second is the competition for the managerial talent may be different from entry level. This is also important. The competition in the industry determines, for example, biotechnology industry. It's a new industry. So what happens initially, a lot of people are joining now, but there are no middle managers. So there will be a shortage of middle managers. Whoever takes off in the beginning period to the middle management, they'll see phenomenal compensation. So